Hi, this is Meghla, and I'm going to handle your aptitude classes, that is third year, fifth semester students. And the syllabus for this is, you have 4 units here. The first one is going to be just a revision class of this numbers, percentage, profit and loss, ratios, mixtures and averages. And the second chapter which you're going to have is time, speed and distance, followed by time and work and algebra. And the last one, which I have mentioned here, is a logical reasoning. And this part is going to be like a problem solving. Like you will be given problems to solve, as you already completed this in the second year. And I don't want to repeat that again because you don't have sufficient time to do that. So we will be giving you the problems. If you have any doubts in the class, you can ask for it. Okay, then we are going to start at the very first class. That is unit 1, class 1. And that is, you have 2 classes per unit. So the first class is going to be about the numbers, percentages, and profit and loss. And the second one is going to be in the next following whatever is mentioned here, the remaining part of it, ratios, mixtures, and averages. So similarly, like 2 classes you're going to have as this Moodle class, and the 2 classes are going to be a doubt clarification for the unit 1, or any unit is going to be in the same way. So for this 1 unit, 2 classes, you're going to see this. Every alternate class is going to be your dot clarification class, where in the Google Meet I'll be conducting the class and I'll be clarifying, and also you will be given some problem to solve. You need to solve and come into the class. We will be discussing those problems. So what is the highest power of 12 that divides 54 factorial? So this is a factorial problem which you would have done it. Mostly I have given that 100 factorial, how many tens are there? It is a similar kind of problem. So the question asked here is, how many such 12s you can divide this 54 factorial by? Still you get integer as a value. If this is not clear, I just want to show you this. If I give you 72, and if I ask you like 72, when you divide by 3, you get integer as a value. So 72 is divisible by 3. I just want to know how many 3s you can divide this by. Can I divide by another 3? Can I just say like power is 2? 72 divided by 3 square, that is 72 by 9. It is still an integer. So there is possibilities, right? But in case if I give you a 72 by 3 power 3, can I get integer as a value? No. So here the integer is not possible. Why? Because this is 27 and it's not possible. That is in 72 when you write it as a prime factors, you can see that 72 is nothing but 8 into 9. 8 is 2 cube and 9 is 3 square. So you have only 3 2s or 2 3s. Therefore, you can divide only by 2 3s. Third 3 you cannot have it here. The similar thing you're going to see in 54 factorial, because 54 factorial is not a small number. It is going to have from 1 up to 54. There are different numbers here, into 4, into 5, into 6, and so on. So you can see here, this we are going to divide by, say, 12. How many such 12s it can divide by? How many 12s are there in this 54 factorial? That's the meaning of that. So 12 again, when you write it in the form of prime number, it's nothing but 2 square into 3. So we have to see the combination of 2 square and 3 is required here. And for that, you have to see how many 2s are there, how many 3s are there. You can't just say that because existing one here is 2 and therefore only 1 2. So when you split this 4, it is nothing but 2 2s. And in case you have on 6 here and 6, the next number 6, if you divide it also, you can see that it is 2 into 3. So in that way, you have to see only in terms of prime numbers, like how many 2s are there, how many 3s are there. That's what you're going to see here. So you can just find out this. First, the process here, what we do is, whatever the question is asked, first you take this 12 and write it in the form of a prime factors, which is nothing but 2 square into 3. And now you have to find out how many 2s are there in 54 factorial and how many 3s are there, so that you can take this combination. And for that, you can't do it directly because 54 factorial is not that small number where you can keep writing all that and then find the number of 2s in between. So we go here for the successive division method. This is what we call successive division method. So in this method, what we do here is take this 54 and find out the prime factors only, not the other numbers. What are all the prime factors you have here? That can be found out by using this successive division method. That is, you can find out like how many 2s are there in 54 factorial, or We can also find out how many 3's are there in 54 factorial by dividing by 3. Remember one thing, this can be divided only by the prime numbers. You can't just take a composite number. I can't just consider 12, like 54 you divide by 12 and see how many 12's are there. It's not possible. Composite numbers you cannot divide by, only the prime numbers. So when you divide this, you can see that the first quotient what you get is 27. And then again when you divide this by 2, you get this 13. Again when you divide by 2, you get this as 6. Divide this by 2, you get 3. Further you divide this, you get 1. And you can't divide it further because we will get only 0. Remember, we are taking only the quotients, not bothered about the reminders. And then add all the quotients. 27 plus 13 is 40. 40 plus 6 is 46. 49 and 50. So there are 52's in 54 factorial. Let me write those 2's here. Number of 2's are 50. I need these 2's, so I'm writing just behind this. Now let us go for 3. 54 when you divide by 3, you're going to get 18. Again when you divide this, you're going to get 6. Further when you divide this, you're going to get 2. And when you add all this, because further you cannot divide it, so you're going to get 26. So we have 26 3's. To get this combination, what you're supposed to do is the power alone you consider here. As you are written below this number of 2's, below 3's number of 3's, take this power and divide it. Take this 1 as power and divide it. And now take only the quotient. Even if you get reminders, forget about that. So the quotient here is 25. The quotient here is 26. And now after taking this quotient, just check whichever is smaller, that should be your answer. Because when you pair this 2's, like 2's are required together along with 1 3. So in that you can see that there are 25 pairs are possible for 2's. There are 26 of them, but still this is limited. So you can have only 25 such possibilities. So we can say that maximum possible value of n here is maximum of n is nothing but 25. Or you can say this n here, you can have 25 here. That's it. We'll go to the next problem now. In Mahabalipuram, there are some magical bells which toll 18 times in a day simultaneously. However, every bell tolls at a different interval of time, but not in the fraction of minutes. Maximum number of bells in the temple can be. Well, you have to just see the problem and understand like what exactly the problem is. Like it's a word problem. Mostly like LCM and HCF will have this kind of applications. So we'll see here like how to solve this problem. So given that the bells toll together 18 times in a day. So in a day means the day is nothing but 24 hours. The one day when you consider is nothing but 24 hours. And now consider this in terms of minutes again. So it's going to be 24 into 60 minutes. That is one day. So given that the bells, we don't know how many bells, that's what you have to find out. But there are 18 bells. I'm sorry, the 18 times they are going to toll together in 24 into 60 minutes. So one time when you consider, then it is going to be 24 into 60 divided by 18 minutes. Okay. So when you calculate this 24 by 18 is nothing but 4 by 3 and the 60 by 3 is 20. 4 into 20 is 80. So this is nothing but 80 minutes. So we can see that one time tolling together is nothing but in 80 minutes. So we have to see that when they toll at 80 minutes, how many bells can be tolling together at that time? This is what I'm going to say. They might be tolling at different intervals. That is what is given. They don't have the same interval, and also it's not fraction of minute. So we can consider, like for example, you can say that 1 minute, if one bell is tolling, you can see that it tolls at 80 minutes. Similarly, when you go for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, it keep tolling in that way, and it will toll at 80th again. But when you go for 3 minutes, obviously this like 3, 6, 9, 12 and so on, but it will not toll at 80, it will toll only at 81 because 81 is a multiple of 3, but 80 is not a multiple of 3. So we can rule this out. So what do you mean by that? When you say that, that means you're going to just see which are all the numbers it is divisible by, or the factors of 80 you're going to see. Like 1 is a factor of 80, 2 is a factor of 80, 3 is not a factor, 4, then 5, and you have to take 8, then you can go for 10. We have 16, 20, 40, and 80. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 of them. You don't have any other factor here. So therefore, we can say there are 10 different bells of the interval at which they toll. I mean, their bell is like 1 minute, 2 minutes, and so on. And all together, they will be tolling at the 80th minute. So this is nothing but the factors problem. So we have to see how to find the factors. The shortcut which you must be knowing is like write this in the form of a prime factor. This is 16 into 5, that is 2 power 4 into 5. And this, after writing this, take the powers alone, increase the powers by 1. So this 4 will become 5, and this 1 will become 2. When you multiply, you get 10. So this is the number of factors of 80. So instead of going for this, you can directly go for this and find this. This is a shortcut. So next problem. Next, we'll go to the percentage because we can't do more than this. So a candidate who gets 20% mark fails by 10 marks, but another candidate who gets 42% mark gets 20 more than the pass mark. Find the maximum mark. So here it's a percentage problem. Whenever we have percentage problem, I say that shortcut is go for 100 as a total, unless otherwise there is some condition given there. If there is a value given, you can directly proceed with the value. Or if there are few percentages where you cannot take 100 as a total, like 33.33%, 16.67, or 14.28%, when they are given, they are not the fractions where you have common value as 100. So you can't consider there. So here 20 is given, so that's not a problem. So what we can do here is we can consider the 100 as the initial value. Let the maximum score be 100, but there is a value you have the values in between. So because of that, we'll consider in terms of x. Let the total mark be 100x. Now, given that one person gets 20% mark, so 20% of 100x is nothing but 20x. The purpose of taking 100x is because you can directly write this. 20% is 20x, fails by 10 marks. So when will he pass? He will pass only when he gets another 10 marks. He got 20x, but if he would have got another 10 marks, he would have passed. That means this is what is called as a pass mark. But the next candidate, you can see he gets 42%. 42% of x is nothing but 42x. And he gets 12 more than the pass mark. So the pass mark is nothing but 12 lesser than this. So this is a pass mark. As I said, here also this is a pass mark and this is a pass mark. So you can equate this and find the value of x. So I can keep this 10 here, bring this 12 here, 10 plus 12, you do it here, and then 42 is here, bring this 20x here, so minus 20x. So this is 22, and here also it is 22x. Therefore, x is nothing but 1. If x is 1, what is the maximum mark? It's nothing but 100. That's it. Good. We'll go to the next problem. A hockey team that played 50 matches in a spring season won 40% of the games. Subsequently, the team had a phenomenal winning streak and won every game it played in April, and its average increased to 60%. How many games in a row did it win in April? So here, hockey match, let us consider the one what is given. First, always try to write the values, details, then you'll get the answer easily. So first they played how many games? First they played 50 games. In the 50 games, how many they won? So you can see that in 50 games it's mentioned that 40% of the games won. So 40% of 50. You know that 10% of 50 is 5. So when you say 40% is 4 times of 5, which is nothing but 20. So this 20 is the one which he won. Out of 50 games, 40% is nothing but 20. 20 games won. And then what is given is they played in April certain games. How many games they played, that's not mentioned. So we'll consider the number of games played next. This is the first game. This is the second game. They played n number of games. We don't know what it is, so we'll consider that as n. But the thing is, all those matches what is played, they won. So subsequently, the team had a phenomenal winning string and won every game. So therefore, the total winning, when you consider the total winning, is nothing but whatever is won earlier, that is 20, and now they won n number of games. It is also given that this makes 60% of the total games played. Average increased to 60. So when average increases to 60, we can say that this particular winning games is nothing but 60% of the total games played. So the total games played is nothing but 50 was played earlier and now n games. That's all. You have an equation, one variable, so you can easily find out. So 20 plus n is nothing but 3 by 5. 60% is 3 by 5 of 50 plus n. Bring this 5 this side, so therefore this is going to be 100 and plus 5n, which is equal to, bring this 3 inside, is going to be 150 plus 3n. So here I can bring this 3n this side, so this is going to be 5n minus 3n, and here this is 150 minus 100. So 2n equals 50 or n equals 25. So therefore, the number of games that was played in April is nothing but 25. That's it. Next. So we're going to see now profit and loss. So in profit and loss, first problem. The Gauri went to the stationers and bought things worth rupees 25, out of which 30 paise went on sales tax on taxable purchases. If the tax rate was 6%, then what was the cost of the tax-free items? So there are two things here we have to see. There is taxable income and tax-free. Taxable purchases and tax-free items. Okay. So there are two things here. So we have taxable, tax-free. So this is what you have to find out. And also as mentioned that for the taxable purchases, she is going to pay this 30 paise. The 30 paise went on the sales tax, and that is nothing but 6% of the purchases. So we can say that the 30 paise, I will consider this 30 paise in terms of rupee is nothing but 0.3 rupees, right? So this 0.3 rupees is nothing but, this is equal to 6% of the total purchase taxable purchases. Okay, I'll just put it as T, and this is tax free. Okay, so here find out what is this T now. So you can say 0.3 and 6% is nothing but divide by 6, and 6 by 100, that 100 will come up, will be equal to T. So when you calculate, this is 30 by 6, which is nothing but 5, that is T. So what we have, the taxable purchases is nothing but 5. Out of 25, Gauri spends 5 rupees to buy the taxable purchases items. And now you can't say this is 20, because for this 5 rupees of taxable purchases, she's going to pay the tax of 30 paise. So tax of 30 paise is nothing but 0.3 is also spent here. So the total money spent here is nothing but 5.3. So therefore, now you have to subtract 25 minus 5.3, which is nothing but, this is 791. So here the tax-free items purchased is for 19.70. That's the answer. That's it. Next. Mr. Khan imported hard disk. He's importing around 10,000 hard disks and 10% of the mark price. That is, he's getting a discount of 10% of the mark price. Out of this, 20% of the hard disks were damaged If the selling price of an undamaged disc is 20% more than its cost price, what is the profit or loss on total sales? So you have to just understand, sometimes they will give you some very weird number where you keep that number and work, it's going to be tough. But of course, this is not weird here. The number is 10,000, but still it is too big. So what you can do is, everything is given in terms of percentage. The damage is in terms of percentage, and the amount is also in terms of percentage. So what you can do here is, we don't have to consider such a big number. We can go for a small number, very small, where you can consider this 20% damage. So the 20% damage, I can go for 10. That would be like 10K. Or the 10,000 what they mentioned, let me consider the number of discs is nothing but 10K. So that is nothing but 10K, and 20% is damaged. So what is 20% of 10K? That is nothing but 2K. 10% is 1, 20% is 2K. So the one which is good is nothing but 8K. Let me keep it in this way. And now we'll go to the problem. He gets a discount of 10% on the mark price. So we are now going to start with the cost price here, because they have started the problem with the mark price. So we will also start with the mark price. So we will consider the mark price as whatever you want, you can keep it. We can go for 100 or you can go for 10. I think this is only like 20, so I can go for 10. So let me consider the mark price as 10 rupees. If this is 10 rupees, what is given? 10%, he gets a discount. So discount is always calculated on the mark price. So you're going to calculate this on mark price. So discount is nothing but 10%. That is 10% of the mark price, which is 10, and that is 1. So when the discount is 1, then the selling price, we can say selling price, that is nothing but 10 minus 1, discount. Mark price minus discount, which is 9. So that means he is going to buy the disc at the rate of 9 rupees. How many did he buy? This is the original value which he purchased. He has got, like the quantity was 10K. So he has purchased 10K. That is going to be your quantity, and each cost is 9 rupees after the discount. So he is going to spend so much, 90K. Okay. So this is the amount I'm just 90K is nothing but 1,000. K is 1,000. So this is the amount which is going to spend on buying this disc. And now, what is he having now? He's having only 8K. Because the 20 of the 2K have them got damaged. So he's having only 8K. And now what is given? Out of this 20%, how is it damaged? Undamaged disc is 20% more than the cost price. So what is the cost price? The cost price is 9. So therefore here it's going to be, he has purchased it for 9 rupees cost price. So what is the 20% more than that? So we can say that selling price here, sorry, I cannot say this is a selling price. I can say this is a cost price here, because he has purchased for so much. So the selling price is going to be the 9 plus 20% of 9 to be added to this. So when you add this, this is going to be 9 plus 1.8, or you can say like what is 20% of this? 9 plus 20% is 0.2. 0.2 into 9. 2 into 9 is 18. So 0.2 into 9 is 1.8, which is again 10.8. So this is going to be his selling price. How many of them is selling? So the selling price of each of this is 9.8, each of the disc, and there are total 8K discs. Multiply this. So how much you're going to get here? 8 into 8 is 64. 6 balance, 806,818. Okay. So the point is here, sorry. So 90K was the money he has spent, and he is going to get now 86.4K. This is again in terms of K. So therefore, when you subtract, it's a loss, because yes, the cost price is so much, the selling price is so much, the total cost price, total selling price. So you can just subtract this. What is the value you get here? you have this point 0. The 10 minus 4 is 6. And here it's going to be like 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. 3.6. It's a loss. So what's the question asked? On total sales. So they're just asking only for the loss. So it's going to be 3.6K. In terms of percentage, they're asking. So we have to calculate in terms of percentage. So therefore, what you do here is you just take this. This is a loss. And what is loss percentage? Loss percentage is loss divided by cost price into 100. So the loss is 3.6K. The cost price what we have is 90K into 100. So 1 0 will go with this. Another 0 you can bring it here. So 36 by 9 is nothing but 4% loss. That's the answer. So your answer is going to be 4% loss. This is the answer. That's it. I think we can stop here. Thank you.